the call, it's the lion's share. It's the lion's share. It's the lion's share. It's the lion's share.
Welcome back. Welcome into the Lion's Share. It is March Madness in the basketball world, but we are here to talk about football. Free agency frenzy was crazy as usual. Lions made a few moves, and we're here to recap all of that. As always, you can watch us on YouTube, but now you can watch us on Spotify video as well now. There's an option if you're watching / listening on Spotify, you can actually watch these ugly mugs as well. And you can comment on Spotify as well, just like our dearly beloved Mike Fox did on the last episode. So thank you. Shout out to all the shareholders who are here each and every week. But just more options to watch and consume our content. So as always, on Apple as well in the audio format, and Spotify, you can still listen as well. But there's a video option now. So we're here to recap what the Lions did. And there was a big one, and that was the biggest one of all. That was the signing of DJ Reed. Not to be confused with DJ Reader. That's going to make a little bit confusing nameplates on the background. Andrew, I think that confused
for the casuals. Yeah, for the casuals. No one on this podcast.
No, Andrew would never make that mistake.
Do you want to talk about that, Andrew? Are you because you seemed like you were a little worried about Aleem.
He's on the road.
No,
and the Mute Monster got
he's
him.
on the
For
road.
those who don't know, who aren't watching, he's in the Lions den today, working on a temporary setup.
Oh, I don't have the same mic, boys. I don't have the visual cues of the red button.
Yeah, because that always helps you.
Yeah, I'm glad we had this mistake because let's just forget about every other mistake I've made. Just keep moving along. Glad we got him. Let's talk about a more embarrassing moment for CD3. Let's pass the buck on to him. Did you see his opening press conference?
Mitch, did you see it? I saw it.
I thought Andrew sent me in that direction before, but it's a tough look.
Oof. Yeah. Talk about your all-time blunders walking into the press conference. No applause. No applause. To me.
So, Ben, you want to know something even better?
What's that? Hit me with it.
So he goes, no clapping, no applause. How y'all doing? So if you go on Patriots.com, the official transcript starts with, how y'all doing?
They cut it off.
Yeah, Watergate.
Beautiful. Yeah, the PR department got involved. Yeah, that to me, that looks like the face of a man or the body language of a man who just got paid a lot of money and probably knows that the Patriots aren't really going to... I mean, he's not going to go get a ring, that's for sure, with that team. I can guarantee you that. So
you guarantee that?
I guarantee the Patriots don't win a Super Bowl for the next 10 years.
Can we like do like a for the next 10?
Yep.
I'm saying, man.
Well, I'm just thinking it's going to be hard to get past the Bills. That's going to be hard. The Bills are always going to be hard. They've got Josh Allen for probably 10 more years.
Ben. That's crazy talk.
Brand new head coach. Brand new head coach.
This is nuts right now.
It's a rebuild. It's a rebuild. They're at least 5 years away.
But it was a rebuild like 4 years ago for the Lions.
Yeah, but Mike Vrabel is not the coach that Dan Campbell is. I love Vrabel.
We may have to figure out something like monetary for you to put on this. I'd love to get into a 10-year bet and hedge you.
Yeah, with interest.
Shareholders would love to hear your thoughts on this, on what this punishment should entail.
Yeah. Use that handy dandy comment feature on Spotify. You could also comment like Eric did on YouTube. We'll get to his take here later in the show. But
I think if they win a Super Bowl in the next 10 years, Ben, you have to kiss Andrew with tongue.
Oh, with tongue? That's crazy. Put that away. Put that away. We got to remember that this is a video format now as well. And everything we do is stamped on record.
Okay, we can move on. I still think you're crazy.
I would love to know what the shareholders think, because I'm sure there's some that would agree with me. They're at least 5 years away. So put it this way, Carlton Davis isn't going to be a part of that Super Bowl team if the Patriots ever do rise back to the old form of the dynasty. Didn't know this was going to be a Patriots podcast today, but let's let's shift our talks to the Lions. Obviously, we know that Carlton Davis was an integral part of the team last year, but we all were kind of leaning towards, well, Mitch and I at least were leaning towards, we thought he was gone. We were correct in thinking that. He was just demanding, it seems like, too much money. And everything that I'm reading and seeing sounds like the Lions got a better cornerback for a better price. Do you guys see it any differently?
I don't know if he's better. I mean, I think they're both very, very good. I mean, he's going to be very good. I think I'm not worried about it at all. Better price for sure. I think like on par for $4 million less a year. I love that.
Yeah.
Andrew, you thought he was staying. Do you see it differently?
No. I can't believe that he got 20 million a year. That's the biggest thing for me. I think, what were we saying? That we thought he was probably asking around 15 and the Lions wanted to give him around 12. And to see him go for another 5 on top of that is so hefty that it's tough. The tough part about DJ Reed is, I love it, and I think they said it's one of the top free agent signings, is just like that's the real only thing they did. I think that's the harder thing for me to be excited about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Andrew, what do you what do you think the bigger loss is then? CD3 or Kevin Zeitler to Tennessee?
Zeitler. Easily.
Not just in terms of weight.
Oh, did you read my show notes? I put that in for Skipper later. Come on.
That's my bad. No, I didn't.
Call foul.
I didn't. The Bluetooth keyboard and mouse weren't working, so I haven't even scrolled through this document yet, if we're being honest.
All right. Well, I would agree with Andrew because of DJ Reed. I think that's what makes the Zeitler a bigger loss. Who's just become like a journeyman stud, which is kind of crazy.
Especially to see all the linemen that the Bears have signed.
Yeah,
Andrew is just like, let's just skip to the bottom of the show notes. He's got somewhere to be after this. There's no time for all.
Ben did it already.
He's got feedback. He's gotten feedback from the shareholders, and he knows that they want quicker, snappier. Everything's fast in this TikTok generation.
Gets one guy to agree with him, and all of a sudden he thinks he's just like chef right now.
Well, Mitch, your favorite PFF had DJ Reed as the number one cornerback last year at certain points throughout the year. So he's somebody that's been highly rated by your favorite metric.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be really good. I just think Carlton Davis is really good too. I think it's a net. I mean, at worst, I think it's a net neutral move. So I love it.
And I think the only concern I think I have comparative to CD versus DJ is Carlton Davis stands at a lofty 6'1", and DJ Reed is 5'9". So he's going to have to be more physical.
What's wrong with being 5'9"?
There's nothing wrong with being 5'9" or 5'8" or 5'7" even.
Unless your receiver is 6'3".
There you go. So I think it's just adjustment in the back half of the defense. Obviously, he's just not going to be able to play the same position like Carlton did, and it's just a different style. It's probably a little more physical.
Do we have the wingspans?
You're asking for so much right now.
Yeah, we're getting it. We might be getting into the weeds here.
He wants to make it a short episode by going to the Bears talk already because he's wearing the Bears hat which, by the way, what is the jacket? Is that a Bears jacket as well? Are you fully bared out?
I think that's more of a poncho vibe.
Yeah, I think this is a Kirkland classic, to be honest with you.
Love that.
Any guesses at what Carlton Davis's wingspan is? If he's 6'1",
6'4".
Yeah, I was gonna go 6'2". I was gonna say right around 6'1".
He's got a 78 and 3/8.
You didn't feel like doing that math before you said it?
6'4"
No,
and a half,
I just used
whatever.
I just used the Google.
No, 6'6". What is it? 72 inches?
6.5. So 6'6". That's crazy.
Versus DJ Reed, who's got a wingspan of 75 inches. So, longer arms. Anyway, we didn't know we were going to get that deep. But, there we go. The Lions have their cornerback one. And I caught in his press conference, he can't wait to mentor Terrion Arnold, who he called All-Pro potential or something along those lines. He threw out the AP word, an All-Pro, did he about Terrion. So that makes you feel better about that too as well.
Speaking of the man, have you kept up on his socials? The guy looks like he's been putting in some pretty good work out there in and out of the lab.
This is the time of year where it happens. You know who else I saw who was in and out of the lab working, shredding? None other than Giovanni Manu.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me more. Where have you found these clips? I need to see more. And how is the man looking? Because Taylor Decker could still be on the block.
You're really trying to speak that into existence, aren't you?
Well, Trey Hendrickson, if you want him, somebody's got to lead.
So we've got some video from the boy himself, Gio. He is showing off all. We've got to in order to share the screen, I've got to allow my screen to be shared, which means it's going to have to restart. So we're not going to do that. But allow me to transcribe what has just happened. He's doing some workouts. No, we're not going to do this the whole time. But basically, to sum it up, he's got a freak athleticism. He's hit the weight room. He's at a performance center along with other star NFL players. So he's really putting an investment, as they say, into himself. And probably looking up to, play a bigger role on that offensive line in the near or not too near future with Big Z heading to Tennessee, which is the other big move that we spoke about. We knew that this was potential, that he could leave. He was a free agent. We knew he's aging, and that's always comes into the equation. And that position, like I told you guys in the chat, it's just been a revolving door on an offensive line that has been highly rated, one of the top offensive lines in the league consistently, with a lot of kingpins on it. This has been that one position that has just been vacant in a revolving door. Last year it was Zeitler's role. Now who is it? Who do you guys see stepping up into that new role? I floated it out to you guys, moving Glasgow back to right guard, which was his natural position a couple years ago. He's been playing left. Now he could move back to right. And then would you put Mahogany at the left guard?
Why not? I think that makes the most sense.
Do you think that's what they do?
Yeah, I think so.
100%. I think that's the most logical thing to do. And then I think you look to replace Graham, Frank, and Dak in the long term.
Agreed. And we'll talk about the draft here in a little bit, but even more concerningly is that depth, right? Because yes, you probably have your starters already established. If you make this move to let Zeitler walk, you have confidence that Mahogany can step up and play a full season in that starting role. He played a few games last year and really showed off what he was all about. And so I guess that gave him confidence. So outside the starting lineup, I talked to you guys about the depth chart, though. We've got some guys on there who, haven't seen any meaningful snaps, even in the preseason. So does that concern you about the depth?
It might just be a rusty or a bumpy start to the season. They'll be okay.
The issue is every team catches the injury bug. What position or what side of the ball or who it's going to affect is neither here nor there, but you saw it last year. One starts to go. Sometimes it's a slippery slope. You lose a couple linemen, and then you're hurting. So that's what worries me. I've been pounding on the table for them to take offensive linemen first overall in the draft for their first pick. But at this point, I think it's just beef either side of the ball.
Yeah. What do they do? Do you think there's probably another move still in this free agency period where they just get some insurance at one of these guard positions?
I think they do it in the draft.
You think they wait till draft?
I agree. I don't know what else is still available out there. All the big moves have been made, but yeah, you're right. Like, is this the time where you just see these insurance ones?
Probably. I think they get a cheapy guard and sign him to a short deal, some small contract money, just to feel better about it. With your starters presumed right now, you got Taylor Decker at the left tackle, of course, always. Glasgow is either that left or right guard. Ragnow's still holding it down in the center, and then Panay on the right side next to probably Mahogany or Glasgow. But behind those guys, you got Dan Skipper, just re-signed him. That's a big one there. Giovanni Manu, who's trying to climb that depth chart and play a bigger role. Nitane Muti? I'm not even sure how to pronounce the guy's name on the left guard behind Glasgow, who they just re-signed. And then you're right, Andrew Sheik, who I feel probably the best about between the backups. So you've got Dan Skipper. I feel pretty good about him. Muti, Nice, who backs up Ragnow at the center position. Sheik, and then Sorsdal. I feel the best about.
Forget about Sorsdale.
And that's my question. That was going to be my next question to you, Andrew. Is do you think how long is the clock on his time here in Detroit, or do you think they eventually move on from the draft pick who they thought could be that next man up on the offensive line?
Well, is it his third year or is it second?
I believe it's his third year.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I thought he's done pretty good. I think he's shown what he is. And if we're looking for depth, I think he might be the depth guy. I think Christian's going to be your guy, and then I think he's probably going to be your long-term replacement for Graham.
Okay.
With Manu taking over for Deck?
Yeah. That makes sense.
The replacement that's not there is the one for Ragnow, which I think what Mitch is saying is going to come out of the draft here.
Yeah, which will be interesting because I don't know if you've been running any mock drafts, you guys, but I have seen the center and guard position. The tackles, there's a lot of tackles who have first round talent, but the guards and the centers I don't see ranked until like the 50s or even the 100s. So
honestly, I like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean Brad's going to go best available.
We've seen him do it in the past. Yeah, it's never stopped them to grab a guy too early. That's for sure. We've seen them jump way ahead of any other mocks before.
Well, with there not being the best, what were you saying, center and guards available late or early, with that kind of being a later valued pick or with what's there, they can get somebody early, maybe on the defensive side, and then still get that long-term replacement because you have Hank Fraley. He's your offensive line coach. He's one of the best in the league. And I think that's the perfect guy to let him develop under.
Yeah.
Behind Frank.
And if we really needed him, do you think Hank Fraley could still ball out right now?
Maybe not Hank himself, but his son was showing promise from Hard Knocks.
That's a good point. Hard Knocks, a couple years removed from that now, he might be like in high school now. We might be talking about him on this Lions offensive line here in about 5 years.
Quick college stint for him.
Yeah, the quickest. But yeah, you do feel that does give you peace of mind to know that you do have him still here. I think we'd all be feeling a little bit more anxious about this had he left for Seattle or New York or the other teams that were trying to bid for him. That does make you feel better about just a proven guy in this Lions organization and especially at the position that he's at, an integral part of the Lions in their run game, but also the passing game as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be an adjustment without Big Z. You felt good, but, is it really an adjustment? Because how many times have we come onto this podcast after a game and said, we lost another offensive lineman, they're in and out of the lineup, and how many times have we actually had this full crew together of 5? And I think the last 2 years combined, it's probably no more than 10 with all the injury bugs, especially 2 years ago. The offensive line was hit real hard 2 years ago. We didn't even know if we were going to get Frank Ragnow to not seek out retirement with how many issues he was dealing with in that playoff run 2 years ago. So, yeah, I think they're in a good position right now, but it's going to be an area to watch over the next couple of years because these are not going to be the same guys that are leading this charge here in the offensive line. And Big Z is off to Tennessee. What'd you think about his contract? I felt like for the price, it made sense to let him. I wouldn't have liked to see the Lions pay an aging vet that much. I think it was around $9 million a year.
Damn, I don't feel like that's that bad.
I know with the cap going up
either, but you got to beat it.
Right. And who knows?
Maybe.
And who knows if he would have taken more of a friendly deal, but yeah, that's tough. Those are the tough decisions that they got to make. So in other moves, no particular order on these moves, but Levi was re-signed to a 1-year, $5.5 million deal on the other side of the line, the defensive line. So along with that, right with him, nose tackle Roy Lopez from Arizona, which this was kind of a curveball. Every year it seems like the Lions do a move like this where you just don't know the motivation for it, but you welcome it. But 1 year, $4.65 million. You guys think that's a little rich for a nose tackle when they already have Aleem and DJ Reader? And what do you think that means for them?
Andrew, I don't know if you were more passionate about this, but this, just to wrap up Zeitler, that makes him the 11th highest paid right guard in the league.
It feels on par with where he should be, honestly.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at, but
I think
go
it's
ahead
a fair
on
move.
Go
on
ahead
him.
on Onwuzurike. You had thoughts.
Onwuzurike, I don't so much care about. You just said Roy Lopez as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one scares me a little more for Aleem's long term, but I mean, what Roy Lopez is what Broderick Martin should have been. It just hasn't developed it. I think Broderick's probably going to turn out to be one of Brad's worst draft picks here.
Ooh.
I think he's spot on with that. That one's it's just not going to pan out. And yeah, I've seen that comparison. Roy Lopez, just an absolute animal out there. Loved what he had to say in his press conference. Seems like the perfect guy as far as the locker room goes. As far as fitting goes, personality-wise, he's going to fit right in Detroit. And I think what that means is probably not going to have Aleem to start the year next year.
They said the first month.
Yeah, the first month, which could be about 4 games. We could be looking at maybe some more, maybe some less. But I think it's a response to that. But also with DJ Reader, heard some rumors too that his time might be limited in Detroit. And so this could be next man up could be Roy Lopez to fill that. That's what I've heard. I don't know that for sure, but I know that DJ Reader's as far as what he's paid, that could
all
come
the more reason.
Could come into play on why the motivation was for this. But on the other side of the defensive line, they still haven't addressed the edge position. So everybody in the Lions comments is screaming for an edge. And I think we're probably in that camp as well. Just what's it going to be now? Is it going to be Trey Hendrickson, or is his asking price too much?
I can't even talk about this anymore. I either want the draft to be here or for them to sign somebody. They need help. They need help. We saw what it was like as soon as Aiden went down last year. The defense was entirely different. So I don't know what Brad's gonna do. I quoted it in here from Terrion Arnold. Let Brad cook.
That's the thing. That's what everybody's saying, right? You trust in their process and what they're doing. But it is a little surprising. But it does sound like there's several teams in the hunt for Trey Hendrickson, and it just seems like there's not going to be a deal done unless one side gives because of what the Bengals want. Even now, they're asking for a first rounder. So if that's the case, yeah, that's what the camps are saying right now is that the Bengals are asking for so much. Could be a leverage play to try to keep Hendrickson there and make a deal or whatever.
He said he wanted to be there.
He continues to say he wants to be in Cincinnati. So I don't know. I think at this point, it's probably not going to be a Lions uniform for Trey Hendrickson, if not anything but the Bengals. But yeah, it's unfortunate because what a beast that would be. But back to what this defense is without the edges, without Trey Hendrickson. I look back to what little action we got with Marcus Davenport last year on the other side, opposite of Aiden, and just the production that Aiden had the first couple games on an absolute tear. Yes, he was going up against a couple backup offensive linemen, backup tackles in those games, but would have been on an absolute historical pace for his sacks and pressures last year. No doubt would have been in the hunt, if not the defensive player of the year, had he been out there all year. So that gives me a glimmer of hope, is if Davenport can play and not get injured, I think they can do it without adding another signing. And then if you got an edge in the draft that you feel great about in the first couple rounds, by all means, go get him.
Yeah, I like it. Roy Lopez also is a pass rushing D tackle. So I think to full circle, that's definitely why they brought him in. Part of why they brought him in. I don't know if you guys, I was just reading up. It looks like he said he wants to coach someday and he wants to learn from Dan Campbell. That's why a big part of why he came to Detroit. So yeah, pretty cool. But that's obviously Aleem, in terms of pass rushing ability, was one of the best in the league from an interior defensive line standpoint. So it'll be a good stopgap, I think, until Aleem's back.
Yeah, and Aleem and Reed are so good against the run. So
yep.
Is Kaminsky signed?
No. And that kind of questions, that brings in some questions as well. Kamish has not been re-signed, and obviously Za'Darius, they cut him. They could bring him back, and maybe that's all part of their plan, is to wait this out in free agency and see who they sign from the team that's still a free agent and who they cut, and then they try to bring back Za'Darius back if he clears waivers. Maybe that's all their plan, just to bring him back on a cheaper price. It seems like that would be a weird way to do it, but that could be part of their plan too, is to bring back Z after he clears waivers.
I'm shocked that they haven't brought back or re-signed Kamish at this point.
Yeah, he's been on these short little deals the last couple years. I don't know if they've all been 1-year deals at this point, but every year he's been one of the first ones re-signed. Just a guy that loves Detroit and has no hesitation towards signing. So it's a good point that you bring up, Andrew. If it hasn't been done yet, it is curious if that is going to be a move they do make. Who's the other one? There's one other, right, that I'm not thinking of that they haven't re-signed. Let me look up the free agents. There's another one on that list that could be.
Craig Reynolds did get the sign back. That one was a little interesting to me. I thought for sure they were going to let Craig walk. Does anybody know the actual details on the Craig?
It's your typical short deal, probably like a $3 million contract.
It was 1 year. Yeah, somewhere in there. It was fairly cheap.
So the other one I was thinking of is your boy, Andrew, the Prophet Muhammad himself.
Oh,
who's listed as a linebacker, but more like an edge defensive end. So that's the other.
I think that's where they're going to use him.
That's your other one. So it's curious to see if they bring back Kaminsky and Muhammad, or just one of those two, or if they let both of them walk, bring back Z, draft. I don't know. There's a lot of questions there at the defensive end. They obviously grabbed Davenport as soon as they could. They re-signed him, and then the rest has been pretty quiet. But to your point, Kaminsky is curious because he's been such a big part of this team. I don't know. Coming off that MCL, maybe they're a little concerned about the injury.
Fair enough.
In that defensive room as well, linebacker edge position, Grant Stewart signed to a 1-year deal, linebacker there. Not something we probably anticipated, but he's signed on a 1-year deal. Tim Patrick is back. Do you guys want to talk about the old Timmy Two Hands?
Glad to have him.
I thought if they didn't re-sign him, there was a chance they might go wide receiver with that first pick.
I feel like it's now screaming wide receiver with one of those 7th rounders.
One of the 7th rounders. Try to get an Antonio Brown there deep in the wide receiver.
I could see him doing it mid-round, 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there. I'm just trying to go through the position groups. They've just been so focused on defense, but they're not. I can't see him drafting another linebacker. Can you guys?
No, I just
They're
don't.
Not a premier guy.
And I've seen a few mocks that have them taking linebacker, and I have to scratch my head at that.
No, I think it's going to be heavy on the. I think it would not surprise me if they went O-line, D-line, wide receiver, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, D-line, O-line, wide receiver, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think it really depends on what they evaluate that talent at. There's a couple tackles. I don't know. I don't see them going offensive tackle first round, but that's the only.
After they trade Decker, though.
Oh my God. Old TD getting TDs somewhere else. That would be. I would be if that does happen, Andrew. I owe you a big apology, but I don't. I don't see anybody else floating that out there. So that's the kind of content that you know and love from the Lions shares. Is no one else is going to bring it to you like that. But to get back to it, yeah, I don't see them taking the tackles but there are some tackles that might be there at first round talent. And there is one. I think there's one guard that's available, but probably taken by the time the Lions come around there at pick 28, and then there's a big gap. So I think it's defensive line or wide receiver first. But with the Tim Patrick signing, I probably feel a little less about the wide receiver right now.
Is there a position group that if they drafted with their first round pick, you guys would be just extremely disappointed?
Well, we've been
head scratching.
We've been in that position before when they took Jahmyr Gibbs, and boy, look how that turned out. So I guess at this point, nothing would shock me, and I wouldn't be opposed to anything.
Linebacker?
Because maybe linebacker, just because of that room is so full.
Linebacker or like tight
Safety
end
was the
probably.
one. Yeah, tight end would be wild.
Safety's a pretty full room, but yeah.
Colston Loveland.
Shout out Eric Ebron.
Colston Loveland could be there. I think it'll be fun if we once the draft is a little bit more clear next month when we jump back on for that draft preview. I think it'd be fun to go through the draft and do a mock and then see who's available and what we would do and what we think Brad would do, because those are two very different things. And every year it seems like there's a move in there in those first couple rounds that we just didn't see coming. Whether it's trade picks, they love to trade the picks. They've done that the last 2 years. They've traded and gotten guys who weren't even on our list. So at this point, you just kind of gotta expect it, and it's worked out for them. So I can't complain. How about Kyle Allen coming in as a backup quarterback here from, I believe the Steelers had him.
I keep passing the buck, Andrew, but go ahead. What were we talking about before we started?
We were trying to find ourselves a viable backup. What do you think? and I'm sure you know the price already since he signed it this year. What do you think's of a good price for a backup quarterback?
I'm gonna say about probably 4 to 10 million.
Okay, well that's a massive range.
It is.
All right. Well, I think on the low end you get like a $4 million contract, but the bigger ones you're probably getting up to 10.
So we were talking about Cooper Rush signed 2 years, 6.2 with the Ravens. I would do that deal all day for Cooper Rush.
Absolutely.
12.2, 6.1 per year.
Whatever, jackass.
Okay, that's a different deal.
I just wanted him to say no. It's 12 million.
Sorry, yeah, I guess I should have elaborated. Yeah, 6.2 a year. I mean, I would pay Cooper Rush that. I think where that doesn't, maybe it doesn't, because it seems like the Ravens backups, they've tried to say like, okay, we need someone who can come in and run the same offense as Lamar, and I don't know that that's really worked for them. So maybe that's why. My stance, and this is what we were talking about before you jumped on, Ben. I think a backup quarterback is super valuable. If your starting guy goes down and you don't automatically go, okay, we're out of this, I think it's worth the money for sure.
Yeah, especially when you're bringing in Teddy Bridgewater in the playoffs last year, who hasn't re-signed either. So if they're signing Kyle Allen, that probably means Teddy's gonna retire.
He's gone.
Right?
Yeah, he's done.
And then who's your backup? Is it Kyle Allen or is it Hendon?
That's what you.
I think Hendon might
practice.
be done too.
It's in a weird position, yeah.
They clearly don't believe in Hendon Hooker.
I just can't. My biggest thing is we talked about it before they drafted him. He was so old coming out of college that you had to play him right away. And then they gave, you see how Goff does. I think Goff does great, so you give Goff the contract, but then you're just stuck. You had to have done something with him quickly. By the time that contract's over with Jarrett, they're both done.
Well, and Hendon's got to be itching to play, to get a shot anywhere, right?
Yeah, the personal drive by him alone.
Yeah,
I mean
the
his
clock's
time
ticking.
his time. Yeah, Ben. That's what I was gonna say.
Wavelength intersection, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Hendon Hooker is currently 27 years old. I don't know when his birthday is, but yeah,
He's old.
just turned 27 in January. Okay, so
I mean, just to prolong your backup career, though, you got to see the field at some point.
yeah. If you're gonna get signed to the Cooper Rush quarterback backup, contracts, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Kyle Allen's contract was around 2.75 million. So a cheapie nonetheless, and yeah, I don't know. Poor Hendon. I do feel for Hendon because he's kind of in a bad spot. And I don't know if he's the quarterback of the future for any team, but he certainly hasn't had a chance to show that he is. All right. Well, they signed a tight end. Dan loves his tight ends. They signed this guy. I'll be honest, I haven't heard of this guy.
Same.
Kenny?
I thought you knew more.
Kenny Yeboah?
Yaboa. It's your boy.
Yaboya.
Yabua.
Same wavelength there too. I think I sent that to Andrew in the DMs. Your boy Yaboa.
I have no thoughts on this.
Yeah, I don't either. Dan Skipper's back. Craig Reynolds is back. If he left to the 305, he went to Miami, got a pretty good deal. We know that the Lions are kind of heavy there at safety. Got some studs out there. So if he was kind of the one that had to go, he was so banged up in the season last year, and he finally made his presence known late into the playoffs. And he's great off the blitz. He's no better on the Lions from a safety blitz position as Iffy. But were you guys surprised to see Iffy leaving town?
A bit, but not a ton. I mean, it's just kind of it's one of those situations that's weird because, like, he didn't really play last year. So, high impact guy when he's on the field, but when you don't see the field, it's like, all right, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to that conversation Dan had last year when they're asking about it. It's like, we're just getting more competitive in our room. And if you can't do multiple things, you can't find the field, it's hard to keep you around. It's hard to re-sign you. And it's just kind of a fault of that.
Yeah, with all the money that they've spent on their core guys too, you're just going to see more of this where they just can't keep everybody around. They can't keep, like they did in the past. They used to bring back everybody. Everybody wanted to be a part of it, and now it's just, guys are making, rightfully so, making moves to make more money other places. So, and probably get more playing time as well. Speaking of which, Vildor leaves for Tampa Bay, so no more of him. I think a lot of people would be cheering for that. I'm not surprised to see Vildor leaving. So yeah, those are all the moves that the Lions have made. A little bit less of a splash. Would you guys consider that a splash last week with DJ Reed?
I don't think so. I don't think that's a splash because, I mean, Carlton left, and it's like, which clearly they had a feeling he was leaving if they were working on this with DJ Reed.
How quickly after Carlton Davis's news breaks did they break DJ Reed? That was like probably 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't really a splash. It was just more of a even out.
Yeah, just a one goes in, one comes in type of situation. One goes out, one comes in. A door there at cornerback one as well. So you had to do it. We know what the secondary is without Carlton Davis, and it's not something we want to remember. So you got to do it. And a hungry cat is DJ Reed. Love to see what he's doing, and didn't mention this at the top, but 18th overall cornerback in terms of costs, and in what many consider to be a top 10, if not maybe that top 5 at his position. So absolutely a great price, and excited to see what he can do. All right, let's talk about the NFC North moves, which is, Andrew, you were just itching at the bit to talk about this NFC North moves, specifically with the Bears themselves. The Vikings made moves and the Packers did as well, but the Bears are really being aggressive in free agency and trades as well. Some of these came via trade, but man, what are the Bears doing?
Too much. They're doing too much, man. I don't like it. The good thing, and Mitch and I were talking about before you got here, um, I don't believe in Caleb Williams, so that's the best news I got.
Listen, I think Ben Johnson is just it's the Detroit Bears. I mean, he's just like we talking about. He learned from Campbell, and it starts up front, and he's investing. It's crazy that they got Chotuney. We'll see how they Jonah Jackson. I'm not like that to me is kind of whatever. There's a reason. I think Jonah Jackson was like, did he have something going on with his health? But I think he may have just gotten benched out in LA, but we know he has the upside. Um, I don't love to see it. I don't love to see it. I think Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson can be very, very good. I don't disagree with Andrew. I don't think I don't know. We'll see what Caleb Williams is, but I don't love what the Bears are doing for us. To quickly touch on everybody else, Packers improve their O-line a little bit, pick up a cornerback. I'm not super afraid of the Packers until they go get an actual wide receiver one. I feel like they got a lot of wide receiver twos running around out there. Vikings, cool. Aaron Jones is back. So, all right. I don't know. I think nobody got worse in the NFC.
No doubt. No.
In the North, I should say. Nobody got worse.
Yeah, the Bears, namely with the big moves, they got two guards, a center, a defensive end, a defensive tackle, and then they most recently, I don't have it on this list, but they got a wide receiver as well to kind of be that wide receiver 3 behind their stars there at the wide receiver 1 and 2. So they got a little.
Well, because Keenan Allen's done, correct?
Is Keenan Allen done?
I don't think so. I thought he signed a 1-year deal. Is that wrong?
In terms of,
I thought so as well. Last year,
Keenan Allen.
I don't think.
No, he's a free agent. He hasn't been signed yet.
Yeah. I mean, because Keenan Allen is just the most perpetually injured wide receiver of all time,
and he's bald.
Oh yeah.
Who could forget that last year Thanksgiving?
Exposed, Bill.
The crown was shown. Who else do the Bears have? They have obviously DJ Moore. Do they have another one?
Rome
Odunze. There you go. That's who I was trying to think of. Yeah. So yeah, Keenan's probably done. If they haven't re-signed him yet, he's not going to go back to the Bears. And I just saw an article and I got a chuckle out of it. 3 reasons why the Dallas Cowboys should get Keenan Allen, and that would just be
Keenan Allen has played 12 NFL seasons and started 16 games in 2 of them.
Wow.
No, that's a little dramatic. There's a few 14s in there, a couple 15s, but the guy doesn't put full seasons together.
No, he does not. I think the Bears got a good deal on him though. Like they got some production out of him. I think they got the most that they could have gotten out of Keenan Allen, but obviously want to move on from him now. But yeah, the Bears, they probably overpaid for some of these guys, specifically on the offensive line. They probably did, but I think they're in a position where they can do so. Andrew, what was the number? I think they had $81 million to spend, something insane. They were at the top. I think they had the 3rd most in cap space, and rightfully so. They're doing stuff with it. So, and they're doing the right thing. That's what concerns me is they're doing things by building out from the offensive line, which is where you always have to start it.
Building from the inside out.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably a better way to say it, more eloquently. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike, the Bengals and the Jets have done that, and that has proven to be their downfall. So the Bears are doing the right things, but like to Andrew's point, we still don't know about Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson too. As a head coach, we know what he was as an OC, but that doesn't always translate. But it does seem like the Bears are doing the right thing. The Vikings, like you said, Mitch, Jonathan Allen's a big D-tackle signing for them. That makes their defense only better. They did probably overpay for Jonathan Allen. They got their cornerback, and they also re-signed Byron Murphy, who the Lions were potentially targeting if they did not go get DJ Reed and lose CD. So they retain him. That defense still looks, on paper, just absolutely insane. They obviously lost Sam Darnold to the Seahawks, which is going to be interesting. Yes.
Let's talk 2 minutes about the Seahawks. What are they doing?
Yeah, what's their goal? What's their end game if you're the Seahawks? And Andrew, who's their head coach again, Andrew?
Couldn't tell you. Old McDonald had a farm.
There you go.
Oh, you know. So, okay, so you go get Sam. So you trade Geno Smith and then you get Sam Darnold. So I'd rather have Geno Smith. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm alone in that. I'd rather have Geno Smith.
I feel like they're interchangeable to me.
Okay, that's fair. That's probably fair. You paid Sam Darnold the same amount as Baker Mayfield. You went out and got Cooper Kupp for, in my opinion, too much money. And then you went out and paid, again, in my opinion, too much money for DeMarcus Lawrence, who's 32 years old. So what are they doing? My question is just like, what you're spending a ton of money on aging talent and Sam Darnold? That's what you're doing?
I think their ceiling is wild card. And that's being generous. So I guess they're just trying to fight to stay relevant and not absolutely rebuild tank.
Okay.
And I guess maybe they have so much belief in McDonald that they want to give him some sort of roster to show what he can do and keep him around so that he can build a roster. I don't know.
Okay.
No.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because I don't get it either.
Yeah, and then to piggyback on that, did you guys see DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons not best friends?
Confirmed?
Yeah.
Listen.
No, what happened?
You didn't see that?
His tweet right after?
So basically, DeMarcus Lawrence said, like, he knew he was never going to win a Super Bowl in Dallas.
Fact.
Micah Parsons sees it and is essentially basically like, this is what rejection looks like. This is stupid. This is great, whatever. And then DeMarcus Lawrence essentially came back and said, maybe if you spent more time like working on the craft and doing stuff in the weight room than Twitter, like I would have stayed.
Wow, man, that's funny because I was literally thinking like that sounds like Micah Parsons is just talking too much.
Listen, people are saying podcasts are a distraction.
Yep, it's true.
Like this one.
Mitchell, how are you? Better or worse?
No, no.
Tommy.
Yeah, cut that out, Tommy. Yeah, all right. I don't understand the Seahawks moves. Like they to me feel crazy, but I'm not a GM.
Back to the Bears for one more move.
Sure, you do have the hat on.
Did you know when did Bieniemy sign with them?
Last.
That's not fair either. And why is Bieniemy taking a running backs coaching job?
We're not sure.
Is Bieniemy busted?
Like, what's going on? Why? He was
he
supposed to get a head
busted.
coaching job.
Yeah, well, he went to be OC at what, like UCLA, or he went to the college route.
Yep. So I think he went Washington OC to UCLA OC, and now he's just like, I don't know, something's going on there.
I know he didn't do well in college, so that played into. I guess he's trying to work his way back into the NFL and is going to work his way up as a running backs coach for the Bears.
Crazy. I don't think it's fair.
You think there's some sort of collusion going on?
Some bull crap. Yeah, of course.
Oh, thanks for censoring yourself there, sir.
You're welcome.
After your F-bombs last episode. Yeah, and then the Packers. They signed a cornerback, Nate Hobbs, I think that's probably their best move. And then Aaron Banks, I think they paid way too much. Like, I don't remember the number for Banks, but an insane amount for Aaron Banks.
I mean, whatever though. Like Mitchell talked about it. Like until they have a true number one receiver, they're no nothing to me.
Yeah, I honestly thought we might see a headline of Cooper Kupp going to the Packers. Honestly, I thought that's where he might end up.
I didn't really put too much thought into it, but that would have been a great landing spot for him.
And I wouldn't have loved it as a Lions fan, but that's where I thought I mean, I think it made sense for both sides if Cup goes to Green Bay. He seems like a Green Bay guy and got plenty of life left. But
Are you just like kind of stuck on Jordy Nelson? Is that what's going on here?
perhaps I am. Maybe he could wear 87 as well.
Okay.
Perchance.
Yeah, I don't know. None of these moves scare me too much besides the Bears, just because the Bears have potential now. And we don't really know what they're going to be next year. As far as, are they a 10-win team? Are they still an 8-win team? Could they win 12 games? Or do they win 6?
Well, it's a good thing all Caleb Williams did in college is lose. And he can just continue that in the NFL.
I think he tears that apart in Chicago. I think it's going to rub people the wrong way.
Tears what apart? Like his legs? Is that what you're rooting for?
I wouldn't put that out to the universe.
Okay, well you said it.
As a man with an ailing back, I don't think I'm in the position to call for injuries, suggest tearing anything other than the locker room apart.
Okay, fair enough.
And in the NFL, like you touched on, Mitch, the Seahawks made their moves. There were a lot of moves. Kirk Cousins is going back to Atlanta. Did you guys catch that? I need to read a little bit more about that, but all signs pointed to him getting.
Let him go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's got that contract, but wow, what an awkward position the Falcons are in with Michael Penix as well back there.
Yeah, just let him go.
Yeah,
it's weird at this point. Kirky Cocaine wants to start. It's not gonna they're gonna start Penix. Like, just let him go.
Anybody here on the podcast going to pick the Falcons to win the South next year?
Oh, God. Do we have to pick the South?
Bucks are getting it again, probably. The Panthers are on the rise. I would say watch out for the Panthers.
Yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, probably like who do you want to watch less? Saints and Falcons? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't want to watch them.
In terms of what the NFL could be, that could be, potentially the NFC North. Whoever's second place in the NFC North could play whoever wins the South. That's what it always ends up, because the South is not going to be good. They never are, right? So something to look forward to is out of those 3 teams, out of those 2 teams that can probably win it in the South. That's who somebody in the North could be meeting in that first round wild card. So, the Patriots were super aggressive. Were mad aggressive in free agency. After I have called for them not to win a Super Bowl in 10 years, they did make some great moves on defense. So, I think it'll be curious to see what they do. But that's the Bills division, in my opinion. So, Andrew, you had this. From Instagram.
Are you surprised by it?
Mitch, did you click on it?
No.
Okay, so most arrests since 2015. Who do you think leads the NFL in arrests since 2015? Which team?
Don't
overthink
Deshaun
it.
ever arrested?
Who?
What?
Deshaun?
Not formally arrested. It's not them. I'll give you that hint. It's not them.
Oh, geez. I don't know. Is it the Lions?
No.
Okay.
Couldn't be more wrong.
Okay, well, I thought this was a trick question. Okay, let me go one more time. Most arrests since what year?
15.
Oh, God.
No, 2000.
2015, Andrew. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Why is the... Look at the quoted words.
The caption says, using the database of arrests since 2000. Yeah, no, it's...
Okay. But he went off.
Okay.
2015.
Since 2015? Dolphins?
No.
Where are they at?
No, they're 27th. 27th.
Oh, sorry, Dolphins.
Has catching shots.
It is a team you hear a lot about.
Chiefs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about charges?
Probably even double this.
I think you'd have it.
16 arrests since 2015, which, do the math, that's over almost 1.5, 2 a year.
I feel like that's that bad.
Lions coming in at 32 overall with 2.
Lowest on the list.
I love that. I said the Lions because I thought this was like a trick question. It was just going to be like I don't know.
No, the Lions on the bottom of the list, sole possession of last place with 2. Chargers had 3, Commanders had 4, and the Dolphins also had 4. They were tied for 27th with the Bucks. So, yeah, second highest was the Seahawks with 13. Cowboys, shout out to America's team, 12, tied for 3rd.
That should have been my guess.
Yeah, I thought that's where you were going to go, honestly. Andrew, you got any thoughts about what Eric Bauman, or well, maybe he doesn't want me to leak his name, but what Eric said?
Too late. Smart guy. They get it.
You guys go way back, right?
Me and his blood, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, he really praised you on your draft thoughts about offensive line. So, yeah, the guy on the left with the chin hair is so insightful. That must be you.
I guess let me say this to him and all the other listeners. If you guys want to come and tell me how good my takes are, I get it. I hear it all the time. So you're just 1 in a billion.
From who?
Thank you.
Everybody on the street.
Hmm.
Irish and Ionia style. Everybody coming up to you.
It's a little smaller scale.
Do they still have that?
Little Claire.
They still have Irish and
I don't know.
Yeah, Andrew was there yesterday.
I wasn't there.
No sightings.
I was at the Irish Fest in Claire, 2025.
Nice. Shout out to Claire. Next episode though, we'll dig deeper on that draft talk as far as what we think the Lions will do. I think we're going to do that mock draft where we see who's available. Right now, it's pretty clear as mud as far as what's going to be available. So give it some more time. Get us closer to the draft. People will have a better idea of free agency, see what the Lions do if they pick up any other additionals. I think DN's a good position at first. Cornerback as well, if there's a good cornerback. Offensive line. But we talked about the grades as far as who's graded to go that high. Wide receiver. You've got Golden out of UT. I think that's somebody they could target. Burden as well. I think those guys are all going to be gone probably in that run. I think the Packers take one of those guys in the early 20s, and the rest is history, and the Lions don't have an opportunity. So also D tackle Harmon out of Oregon is a great talent, but I think the Rams probably take him right before the Lions to fill up that void that they have been waiting for.
I think the Lions kind of addressed that with Roy Lopez too. So and Levi. I'd be shocked if they went D interior.
Reading my notes, I said signing Roy Lopez says Levi makes this less of a need.
Same way. Never read your notes.
No, they're right there. All right. Well, that's mostly our show. I wanted to do one thing before we left. I've been seeing this around the social medias, which is day of the week. If you guys had to rate the top day of the week for you, which is it?
Saturday.
Oh, I'm a big Friday guy.
Big Friday guy. Okay. See, I said
big Friday guy.
Sunday. Sunday's up there, especially with football.
The dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
That's rude. Well, that's rude. You don't like football? You don't like football?
So Fridays there's plenty of football on Saturdays, friendo. So Friday's automatically out because even if you don't work like a full day Friday, you're still working.
Agreed.
Sunday is like, maybe it's just a me problem. I make it till like 2:00 and I'm like, God, tomorrow's Monday.
Guys with kids.
Sunday scaries come in hot. They do.
I feel like Saturday is just like, there's no rules. There's no rules on Saturday. Like you sleep in, you get to stay up late, you don't get to. I just don't know what's the Friday. Why Friday? The only good thing about a Friday is like once you're done with work, it's like like the weekend is here.
Yeah, we have powwows at our place or the neighbor's place. Make a good little meal. We all have a few drinks together and celebrate life. As a true community. So, what do you do?
Not that. I don't have like we don't. There's no like Friday routine. I'm just. What was there a consensus, Ben? Like, was there a national vote?
No, everybody's posting
Yeah.
their rankings 1 through 7, and it's just created so much division. I just had to bring it up because I was curious to see what you guys would say.
I think like for me, I'll go 1-7. Saturday 1, like Tuesday might be 7.
Yeah, that's what I had at 7.
Tuesday's just like Monday's like whatever.
Yep.
I don't know. Mondays suck, but for me Tuesday's just like, oh god, there's so much left.
I'm right there with you. Andrew,
Okay.
what's your 7th?
You guys like Mondays?
I don't like Mondays, but
Don't get
Mondays,
it wrong.
Monday is probably 6.
Yes.
I don't know. I think Monday is 7 for me, and then you just work backwards.
Monday,
Well,
Tuesday,
but not
6th.
really because
Close. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So what's your 2 then? Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your 3?
3. 3 is probably Sunday, and then you got a 4 probably Wednesday. That's where your flip flop comes in.
Okay, so you probably go like start
5 Thursday.
Yeah, if you're Andrew, I think you're overcomplicating this for yourself. I think you start on Friday, you go 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 6, 5, 4. Let's not
Yeah.
go crazy.
Yeah. See, mine is
Sure.
just the week backwards. Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday.
You guys are making this way too complex.
This episode's
Andrew's over here like
getting
trying to
complex.
like jot down an algorithm on why like it's crazy.
Yeah, he's asking ChatGPT what's the worst day of the week.
Yeah. Andrew's asking ChatGPT, how do I get my mouth to say the words I'm thinking?
Easier said than done,
Dude,
my friend.
I need to ask Chat that sometimes.
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's life on the road, my friend. The nomads. All right, well, we will be all back in front of you on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, in the socials. Next month, here about a month from now, we'll be talking the draft. Look for us around April 20th. If I look ahead of my calendar, or that's Easter Sunday, so maybe not Easter Sunday, but maybe around then. Around then, with the draft on the 24th, we will be back in some capacity around that week. And then we will be back to recap the draft after it is all fully complete. So much more to come. Free agency not done. The Lions and other teams will still be making moves. They will be coming at a much slower pace than they did this week. Of course, it was crazy. Now it kind of trickles. And then we'll know for sure in the next episode where the Lions probably target that first overall pick in the first round at pick number 28. Thank you, shareholders, for showing up each and every day. Happy Sunday, who some call the best day of the week. Happy Sunday. Have a great week. March Madness is here, so fill out your brackets. Always an exciting time. Let's go, Lions. I'm out.
Yeah.